All right, I think we're about to start here. I'm so excited. I haven't live streamed in, I think it's been like almost a year now. That's nuts. And I don't know if there's anybody out there that still actually like waits for me to go live or anything, but I still seem to have a couple followers on this channel. Anyways, as a quick little if I'm looking over this direction, I'm looking at the chat. Hopefully that's kind of well established, or for people that watch live streams, knowing that people have a kind of dual monitor setups. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay and everything. But yeah, super stoked to be doing another live stream. For those of you guys that might not know me, my name is Jonathan. I am a graphic designer, and going to be doing a little bit of some Photoshop work tonight. And this is just kind of me, just kind of getting my feet wet again with the whole live streaming thing. Been playing a lot of Call of Duty lately. I'm sure that there's been some of you too that have been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Amongst other things keeping me busy over the last year. There's been a new job, and I've moved and kind of done a few other things since we've last talked, but found some time in there to play a little bit of video games. And one of the things that I've been really kind of inspired by lately are all the cool camos in Modern Warfare. And I mean, there's been camos in all the different games, but I think that Modern Warfare has had a lot of cool camos, really bright, sort of vibrant camos. And a buddy of mine, Evan Eckard, actually put together a great little YouTube tutorial the other day, talking about how to do all these sort of cool little sort of abstract patterns in Photoshop. And looking at that video, and it just really reminded me of some of these cool patterns that you would see in Call of Duty. So let me just show you guys my screen. Just finished doing a little bit of a tutorial that he had up on his YouTube channel. And you can get all these really cool little sort of topography like patterns in Photoshop. And so this is a combination of two different tutorials that he had up. Here's one on the left with sort of just kind of like this sort of basic white outline pattern. And this one over here on the right is a little bit more elaborate. But what I was thinking would be fun is just as kind of a small little simple thing to do on the stream tonight. I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of, we're not going to go super long with the stream. I know when I was kind of at the peak of my live streams, I could go on for 4 hours or so, and don't really feel like I got that in me tonight. I just wanted to do something a little easier. So we're going to focus here on the one on the left, and maybe take it a little bit further, and maybe applying some color in these sections too, and not necessarily only doing outline. But we'll see kind of where it goes. Sort of the path that I'm trying to follow for tonight is I picked out a camo that I really like. And for those of you that don't play Call of Duty Modern Warfare, there are a lot of different categories for camos. And the camos are essentially, for those of you that are like completely unaware of Call of Duty and how it works, camos are something that you just apply onto your gun, and then it changes the color of your gun. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, when you think of camouflage, you think of like the jungle, or like all the tans for the desert. But in Call of Duty, there's really no rules. It could just be whatever. There's gold camouflages. There are all these cool like neon colors, and those are the ones that really caught my eye. So there's one underneath the reptile category. They're split up into different categories, and I believe it is called, let's see, it is the gecko camo. And I don't know about you guys, but I have had a pretty hard time trying to find all these images, or high-res images, rather, of these Call of Duty camos. I found one website that has pictures, but this is probably the best that you can get. You can't really zoom in much more. That's about it. So what I want to do is sort of recreate this, and we'll just kind of see how far we go. I mean, we're using this as inspiration, more or less, not necessarily copying it per se, just because we really don't really have that great of a view of it, and we want to kind of make it our own too. So What I'm going to do is just going to kind of copy this image so that way we can kind of get our colors right. We might not even need to do that. We can just look at this and kind of quickly see that there's three main colors. There's sort of this cool gray here in the middle, cool matte gray. It looks like there is a darker thin line of black, or maybe like a really dark green there, and then obviously the really bright sort of neon green that's sort of the main color of this. So keeping that in mind, maybe let's just kind of go into Photoshop. We'll recreate it. I think so. As I mentioned, we're going to be focusing on the left side of this tutorial, but I wanted to show you guys both because there's some really cool effects that you can do in Photoshop too, and maybe we get to this one over here on the right in another video. I think my computer might be thanking me for that, just because I kind of pushed it a little bit with getting. We're just doing this really quick before. It was pretty. I could hear the fans over there going on my laptop. Anyway, so yeah, let's close out of this. We're gonna open up. Actually, let's open up a new file first. Open it up. Let's do 3,000 pixels by 3,000 pixels. Getting this ready for Instagram here. And for resolution, we can just do 300. That might be a little overkill, but nice to have a nice high. I'm like a total sucker for like having sharp images. So we're gonna create that. All right. So now we got that. We can actually close out of this one now. All right. Let's just save this document here. Save it here. We'll do camo pattern 3. All right. So, and hopefully audio is good. Did a little bit of a check before this, but hopefully the music isn't too loud. I love this sort of like background dubstep type music or like electronic music. Really kind of puts me in the mindset to work, but there's like so many ups and downs. There's like really like quiet songs and really loud songs, and it's really kind of hard to dial in the audio. So I like to go for the higher end of things, but then you could just have this streak of really small or like quiet songs, and then you don't even realize there's music on. Anyways, I digress. Let's get back to this. So one of the first things that we're going to want to do is make sure that we create a new layer, and we again, I'm following this pretty similar to how Evan laid it out, and I just want to give him credit. I'll make sure. Let me find his YouTube channel. I'll link it in the chat because I want to make sure to give credit where credit is due. Let's see. Make sure it's muted. We don't want any audio clashing here. Evan's like an OG in the graphics on online pretty much. Like I know for me, I got started in graphics doing like Call of Duty YouTube banners in high school, and here I am like over 10 years later still doing graphic design and doing it professionally now, and still watching the same people and still on Twitch. It's fun. Oh, look, it's the Pixels and Easels guy. Yes, it's me. I'm just pasting in that one video from Evan. There we go. So that's kind of the guide that I'm going to be following here for this graphics tutorial. But how's it going, Octi? Thanks for stopping in. I'm happy to see that at least one of my followers still cares. I guess that's my own fault. I wish I could see, because the videos delete, I think, after what's it called, like 30 days, I think is what it is, and it has been long past 30 days since I've gone live, so yeah, I think it's been close to a year. I think it was at least October the last time I did, or longer. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a minute, but we're back. Hopefully we're going to turn this into a regular thing. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, let's get into this. So we got our layer here. Let's just name this glitch. Alright, and we want to make sure that our colors are black and white, and you can just hit that little button there to reset it. It doesn't really matter what's the foreground and what's the background right now for what we're going to do. Then we go up here to filter. We're going to go to render. We're going to render some clouds. Alright. Yeah, I know, it's been forever, right? It's been like, I think it's safe to say it's been more than a year. But yeah, things have changed. I've moved. My fiance and I, we got our own apartment, and actually right now, some exciting news to share is we're actually in the process of trying to buy our first house. So fingers crossed there. Hopefully things work out. We're in the process of getting all the inspections done and all that fun stuff for somebody just to tell you how all the things that are wrong with the house that really aren't that big of a deal, but they got to tell you anyways. So that's what we were doing earlier today, is just kind of checking out some of the inspections, and yeah, we're keeping our fingers crossed. Keeping our fingers crossed that everything works out. So anyways, what I was going to do is we did our clouds here, and let's make them a little bit bigger. We want to probably go like 2 times the size. And we want to have a nice mix of highlights and dark areas here, so I think that's probably good there. And yours aren't going to look exactly the same as this. Photoshop generates clouds randomly. Anyways, Octi, how have you been? What's up? And I think I might have caught you in one of Valency's streams a couple times, but even then, I feel like I've only popped into a couple of his streams in the last year or so, and it's just because his time is different. He's on the complete other side of the country as I am, and he likes to stream late anyways. So yeah, I'm either always at work or eating dinner around the time when he's streaming. But I've tried to pop in a couple times, and I've caught up with him offline a couple times too. So I haven't been a complete ghost. So let's see. All right, so we got our clouds there. The next thing that we want to do is, let's try to remember this from memory. We're going to go to distort. We're going to go to zigzag. And I've noticed with this, just kind of doing my test earlier, is that these numbers here really only work if you're at a large, sort of like in the 3,000 pixel range for your document. So I think around 62 and 3 for the ridges is a pretty good amount. And this should be doing it for the entire layer, not just for your window. So if you see, if I scale it back in, like those ripples are a lot more prominent. You can kind of see it's kind of spiraling out a little bit. Don't know how well that's coming through on the stream, but it's there. You can trust me. So now let's kind of put that back, try to get our mix of light and dark back to where it was. Just been waiting for the inevitable return to pixels and easels. Yeah, maybe one day. I know Valent, I think I was only around to like episode 10. So I have a really hard time taking any sort of real credit or ownership with that. I know I was around at the very beginning, but Valency has totally just kind of ran with it and really made it to what it is now. I think he's like up in the 60s or even higher with the episode count. It's nuts. But yeah, that would totally be fun. I had a lot of fun kind of, I think I was always a little overkill with how I would present all my selects for the week. I would put together like a really nice keynote presentation and kind of do all these things, a little bio, like nice little headshot of each person. And I know Valency has his own style where he kind of just goes to DeviantArt and talks about things, but I had fun kind of prepping for it. So yeah, maybe. And it was kind of a nice mix between that and doing something like this where you're just kind of talking and designing at the same time. And even this stream is maybe a little bit more than what some of my streams have been, where it's just literally the camera's on, the microphone's on, I got music in the background, and I'm just working. If someone happens to come into the chat, yeah, I'll say hi, but it's more or less just kind of documenting my work session, where this is sort of more of just kind of a walking through, doing a tutorial. Oh gosh, this Pretzels Rocks. So Pretzels Rocks is the program that I use for all the music in the background. So yeah, great music. I very much regret linking it to my Twitch account because now it just totally just spams the chat. Maybe let's look into seeing if I can get rid of that. Sign out, maybe? Maybe if I sign out. If I sign out, is that going to ruin the music? Crap. Yeah, I did. Let's see if I can fix that. Okay. Maybe we're stuck with it. Maybe I just made a mistake. Maybe if I go into Twitch somewhere, I can get rid of it. All settings, maybe. What's playing? Announce what's playing. Disabling what's playing. Chat announcements required. Oh, I gotta pay for premium? It wasn't like that before. I thought I opted into it. Okay, well, I guess I can let them spam my chat for giving me free, royalty-free music. Anywho, let's get back to this. Where were we at? So we did our ripple. Alright. Let's go back up to filter. Still on our glitch layer. Really haven't done that much to it yet. Now we want to go to... let's see. Distort again. We're going to go to twirl. And this is just to add a little bit of a spin to our clouds. Give it a little bit of direction. So 50% is fine. We're just going to hit OK. And depending on where you moved it to, you might not get the very center of that spin. That's going to be like right in the middle. So you can see right where the anchor point is. That's in the middle of the document. And that's okay. That's fine. Unless you really want to have that effect of the spin being right in the center of your artwork. It's subtle enough to where it's not that noticeable. It's not like a whirlpool or something that's going down towards the middle. Let's go up to view again. Oop. Go back up to the filter again. We're going to do one more distort filter. We're going to do ripple. And this is just going to add a little bit of a wiggle or ripple, or I guess ripple would be the correct word, to the edges of everything. And I think let's put this up to like 130, 135 maybe. And you can see here, if I zoom out in like to 400%, I might not see it that close. Actually, it's got 200. It adds just this little bit of a ripple to the edges, kind of little backs and forths, I guess. So we're gonna hit OK, and this is all just subtle effects. So now we got that. All right, let's do something else. I actually want to. Let's do this a little bit different than how Evan did it in his video. We're gonna do this in a non-destructive way. Let's go to. Let's see. Actually, no. We're gonna do this a little bit. I was thinking of the other tutorial that I just did. For this one, we are going to be a little bit destructive, and what that means is that we're just going to make changes to this layer without it being a smart layer. So that way, if we want to go back and make any changes to, like, say if I bring this up to like 60, I do a whole bunch of other things. In 10 minutes, I decide that I want to make this 40 instead. I'm not going to be able to do that. But anyways, it's going to be fine. We'll be okay. It'll be fine. It's okay. What we're doing here is we're just trying to add a little bit of contrast. So I know I kind of skipped over that. We're going to go to image adjustments, levels. So we're going to go to levels. And we're just going to bring these outer little ticks towards the middle, so that way the brights get brighter and the darks get darker. So we just really want to make sure that there's a lot more contrast in this image. So, and since I'm saying contrast, that doesn't. You might be able to achieve the same effect using just the brightness and contrast, but you might have to do it multiple times. I find that just using the levels is easier and faster in most cases. So I think that's good there. We really just want to make sure that we got a solid black and a solid white in the darks and lights. So now we hit OK. All right, now we're cooking. All right, next what we're gonna do is we are gonna go to image. Adjustments, posterize. So now you can really see this whole effect coming together, right? So if we're trying to get a camo like effect, posterize is definitely where we're going to see that. And now you can see that we get a slider here for the amount of levels that we want. And as you might guess already, the levels are just the different levels of color that we want. So as you can see, we have a white, light gray, dark gray, and a black. So those are our 4 levels. If we bring that up to 5, you can see that now there's an additional shade of gray. And likewise, if we go to 6, there's even more, and 87, it's pretty much just an image at that point, right? So I don't know why there's so many levels here. Don't know what the use case would be for that, because right after, like for a 3,000 pixel wide image, that's a pretty large image. You're pretty much going back to what it was before, around 40, and not really a noticeable difference after that, unless you're really zoomed in. But for our purposes, I think 5. Let's see, actually, let's do this. Let's do 3. What does 3 look like? 3 or 4? Let's do 4. I think 4 might be a good amount for us. So let's do 4. Alright, now let's save. Let's be smart, making sure that we're always hitting save. And now let's see. Now, since we got that, just thinking back to what our camo looks like. Let's open it up. Maybe I'll have just one for reference in here. So there's our camo. Bring it up all the way. Let's just get a little bit of a square. Where did he go? It's glitching out on me. Alright, let's just get a little bit of a section here of the camo. And we're just going to keep that. That'll just be our reference. We don't need the whole image. Maybe we can make this a little bit bigger. And let's see. Let's see what happens if we just, for the sake of getting the colors less dull. They seem pretty dull for some reason. We're just gonna add a little bit of a contrast, maybe 40. 40. There we go. I think that's, yeah. It's kind of washed out a little bit. Obviously not perfect color, but now we're at least a little bit closer to what it looks like on the TV. So what I wanted to do is I just wanted to get a better view of kind of what this looks like. There are a couple things that we can do in terms of creating this pattern. We could come through here, and I just want to make a copy of this layer. So I'm going to make a copy of my glitch layer by just doing Control J. And now we're going to do glitch. Selection. I didn't really need to make a copy of this. I just like to have a backup. So maybe just for my purposes, I'll just do backup here. But what I want to do is I want to use the magic wand tool. So I'm just going to hit W, cycle through all my selection tools. Tolerance, I think we should bring this down to, and this is me just trying to remember how to use this. I haven't used the magic wand tool in a while, but I think that we want to bring that tolerance down lower to like an 8. And what we can do is, let's see, what is the best way of doing this? What I want to do is I want to select all of one color, and that'll be the green. So if I select the green, just so that way we have that in our foreground. There we go. And now if I select, with my glitch selection layer on, if I go to select, color range, and go to white, hopefully if I bring that fuzziness down, just like 50, let's see if that works. And now I'm gonna, so what's that, that's selecting all the white that's on that layer. And if I make a new layer here, I can name this green. And now, thought I had the green selected. There we go. With my selection tool on, I can, let's see, I can paste that layer. All right, so now if all's right, there we go. Now we have a transparent green. So, all right, so now the tricky thing is making sure that our, so here, let me try and do it wrong so that way I can try and show you guys how to fix it. If it doesn't happen, let I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm trying to solve a problem that I haven't even caused yet. So let's try and cause the problem, and then we'll see if we have to fix it. So let's go do that again. So now we're going to go to select, color range, and now we're going to select that very next color. All right, now that's the light gray. Oh, let's make sure that we deselect this. Did I mess that up before? No, I didn't. All right, glitch selection, select, select color range, light gray. All right, now we're gonna make a new layer. Again, same thing. Actually, what we need to do is we need to select what that next color is gonna be. So maybe let's just select that dark green there. I know it's not gonna be perfect, but we can change the color in a bit. So now that I've done that, I want to go see if that's caused the issue that I thought it was going to cause. So I zoom in here. What I thought was going to happen is that there was going to be a very faint line between the green and that dark green. So I am not seeing any sort of issues. If I select this layer here, all right, pixel perfect right up to the edge of the green. So I think that we might be in the clear, and the reason why we're not getting that is because our fuzziness level is probably at a pretty good amount, meaning that we're not feathering at all and not missing the selection. So that's good. So now let's figure out what do we want the next color to be. I see another color here where it's this sort of lighter blue. So let's try that. Let's do the same thing again. Let's go to our glitch selection. Let's select what that next color is going to be. Color range is now this color here. Select that, and that's a pretty good amount of our screen. So that, I would say, that's probably one of the main colors. It's the green and this sort of blue. So for some reason my selection keeps getting messed up every time I go to do the select color. Anyways, try to do this again. All right, so we got our new layer here. Gonna paste it that. Alright. We can start naming these too. We can go to green, dark green, and this will be, what would you call that? That's kind of like an indigo maybe. Alright. And last but not least, I think we got one more color to pick, and that'll be our dark color. Just because I'm curious, I want to see what it looks like with this color. This is kind of like more of a muted version of that blue. Just curious. So I'm going to select that color. Alright, now let's keep an eye on that color. I just want to see at what point in this process we're losing it. So if I go back to select color range. Oh, I think it's because... I think it's because I have to use the eyedrop tool to select the color. Color range, black. Yep, that's what it's losing. So just click OK there. Alright, now we got that. Perfect. Alright, so now look to see what our pattern looks like. So yeah, we're definitely not getting the same sort of effect that we would if that was a darker color, just because of the way that the color sort of gradiates. It's kind of weird to go from light, dark, light, and then it's not really even a step up. It's just kind of a bland color. So I'm not really liking how that's going to look. So let's just select the whole layer. Actually, what we can do is we can just, let's see, I like this black that I have in my color palette for my own personal brand. So select that on my libraries, color overlay. We're going to go to and select that color. Alright, that's pretty cool. So something else that I would want to do, and this is kind of more or less the pattern that that Evan created in his video, is I just want to see what this looks like if we add a little bit of an outline to every single layer here. And yeah, there's multiple ways that you can do that. I could go through in each one of these layers and add a stroke. Just to show you that I could do this here. I can add a stroke. I can make that 2 pixel stroke. There we go, we're at white. Copy it. And then select all my layers here and then paste it. and that's great. But I want to do some other things to this sort of outline. For instance, I want to add like a gradient, so that way it's only in some spots and not others. And maybe if I want to add like a motion blur or something like that, I can be able to do that. So in order to do that, I want it to be its own layer. So rather than doing that through layer effects or layer styles, I'm going to do it another way. So I'm actually just going to rasterize this layer here, so that way that color's there. Black. So now we have all our different layers here. I'm going to call this Camo Layers. Alright, so how are we looking? We're looking pretty good. If we really want it to be, this might mess up the effect a little bit, but if we wanted to, we could just make a copy of this green layer here. Dark green, well, let's just call this green shadow. Bring it underneath the green. And so this one here, it's not really like this sort of stacked, even all around pattern like we're getting. The Call of Duty one, it's more of just kind of a drop shadow, more or less, of that green. So I just want to see what that looks like if we were to take this green, do a color overlay, and we get our same green, but we're going to make it like a really dark, almost black. Alright, so now we got that. Now if we just drag this, now we're kind of getting that sort of effect. And that's cool. I like that. I think it's pretty neat. Might even want to try and desaturate that a little bit. So we're going to bring that a little bit more over this way. The nice thing is that it's all live. So you can see it changing in the background there. So I can do that. So we can really see if it's going to work or not. So I'm liking kind of in this area here. I know we're not really getting that green anymore. We're still getting a little bit of it, but it's more flat and it's a little darker now too. Without you, yes. I was just waiting. I was waiting for you to go offline, and I just wanted to make sure that I had access to all your viewers. And Octi was already in here, so you know I'm taking my audience back, man. I'm just kidding. I know, but look at this. I'm live streaming, man. It's taken me a year, but I'm back online. I popped in with you, I think, once or twice, and we did that, the Very Merry Fairy or something like that. But yeah, it's been fun. I'm really kind of excited to get back into live streaming. It's a lot of fun for me, just kind of sitting here talking to everybody, and more often than not, it's me just talking to myself, but hey, at least I get to go back and watch it. I'm the content creator and I'm the viewer. But yeah, so what we're doing right now is we're doing like a Call of Duty camo. So up here in the top left, you can see, let me just kind of do this here. We're trying to copy this Call of Duty camo. Been playing a lot of Modern Warfare lately, and really inspired by all these cool camos. And I really love this one. It's under the reptile category. It's called Gecko, Gecko, and just love the colors on it. So thought I'd have fun and try to recreate it a little bit. So this is kind of where we're at. Thanks. Yeah, having fun with it. Doing all these. I watched a tutorial from my friend Evan, and I posted it up above. You have to sort through the billion Pretzel Rock notifications. Ugh. I think when I first downloaded this to get my music, it was like you could opt in to have it linked to your Twitch account, but you didn't have to. And now that I have linked it to my Twitch account, I cannot find a way to unlink it. So now I'm just stuck with this Pretzel Rocks notifications in here, and the only way to get rid of it is either to find a different place to play music from or to pay for the premium. And I'm not really looking to pay for premium, and I guess now that I'm an affiliate on Twitch, if I still am even an affiliate, I don't know. I can't be having any copyrighted music, so I think I'm stuck with it. So hopefully it doesn't bother you. But just look for my name. It's the only thing I posted in there. Actually, I don't know if since you just joined, does it save chat? Let me repaste it. There we go. All right. So, anyways, back to what I was kind of working on here. So there's our camo. All right. So now what do we want to do next? What I want to do is I want to add a little bit of an outline, like a white outline, or actually we might even do like a gray outline. I think that might look nice. So let me just copy this hex code from the gray that I like. I've been working on rebranding myself, and you might have been able to tell from just the stream beginning. Or if you have looked at my website recently, I haven't launched my new website, but I've redesigned my whole website. It's currently live. So I've done a little bit of a soft launch with some buddies I have in a design Discord, but I guess I'll do a second wave of the soft launch right now. So if anyone's interested in checking out my site, feel free to. Long story short, been kind of redoing my brand a bit. All right, Valency, thanks for stopping by, man. Definitely got some things going on in the personal life right now. Just kind of busy with work and some other things. Making some moves, so TBD on when I can make an announcement on something. Hint, if you rewind on the stream, you might get a little bit of a sneak peek as to what that might be. But yeah, we should definitely catch up soon and possibly do a joint stream again. That'd be fun. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. Peace. Alright, so what I want to do is I want to take this glitch selection, and we can just use this now. We can just do glitch, rename it back to glitch, and bring this back up to the very top. And what we want to do is we want to go up to view, or sorry, I keep wanting to say view and filter. For some reason in my mind kind of look the same, but I know they're not. So we're going to filter, we're going to go to stylize, find edges. What? It's magic. What did you do? Let's see that instant replay. Let's go back. Filter, stylize, find edges. All right, so now that we got that, what do we want to do? Let's invert that, actually. Nope, we're not going to do that. We're going to go to... Actually, yes, let's do that. I am just all over the place, guys. I'm sorry. What we want to do now is we want to double-click on that layer. And underneath here, underneath blending options, so it's just the little window that comes up automatically. This little slider right here, so blend if, and it's the black portion of the slider. If we bring that in a little bit, you can see that it just got rid of everything that was black on that layer. So that's what we want to have happened. And that's actually, will we run into that big of an issue with this? I think for our purposes, we don't really need to. In some cases, you really, like, if you zoom in, let's actually just zoom in real quick just to see. So if we zoom in, and let's do that again. We want to make sure that we don't get little pieces of black left over. So if we do that, so now you can see over here on the edge of the green, you can still see that there's some little black pixels there. And you might just think, all right, let's just drag the slider all the way over. But as we do that, we start to lose a little bit of the white too. So what we can do is we can split this by hitting Alt, clicking on that little tick, and now we can do a little bit of a range here. So while it's a very subtle difference, you can do a little bit of a better job at getting rid of all those little leftover black pieces, but not getting rid of too much, like a lot more of the white. So you can see probably like right here is probably when you get rid of all of it without going too far. And let's bring that white back a little bit. So I think in this particular instance, it's not that big of a difference, if any. But just to make myself feel better, we're going to keep it anyways. So now that we've done that, we can hit OK. But in order to make that a truly transparent layer, let's just add another blank layer above it. Select the two of them and then do Control E or Command E to merge the two layers. Now you can see on my little preview here, it is a transparent layer now. We can just call this lines. Lines, multiple. Alright, save it. And this alone is, I think, is a pretty cool pattern. And as you can see, when we duplicated that green layer to make sort of the shadow, that is not getting the white outline to it. That's because that wasn't included in our normal glitch effect. But that's fine. Maybe it's nice to have that extra layer to it. Maybe we'll bring it back a little bit just so that way it's not hitting that dark purple. Alright, so now we got that, and we got our lines. So I think that the lines currently are overpowering it just a tad. We got this bright green, and then we got all these bright lines, or this bright white kind of just drawing your eye all sorts of places. So I think it would be good just to add a little bit of a gradient mask to this, so that way it's only in some spots and it's not in all the spots. We can do this a couple of ways. We can do something simple where we just add a mask to it by hitting the little mask button there while selecting the layer. Or let's try this. Let's try this first. All right, so let's do this. Let's reset our colors here. So we have true white and black with the mask selected, not the layer, but with the mask. And let's just come through here and we'll just kind of just drag it from a couple different sides. And I want to drag it from the sort of like the dark areas. Actually, let's just try from the left and the top right and the bottom left. So that's already kind of giving a cool effect. Let's actually bring our opacity up all the way so that way we're not missing out on anything. So that's one option. I mean, that already does a good job, but still kind of including that nice little element. But it's not overpowering it, and the eye is still kind of going towards the middle of this. But I want to try something else too. So let's duplicate this line layer. We're going to turn off one of them. We're going to try this lines 2. Let's also delete that layer mask. Now let's go back to our green layer. Let's select the green layer. And so what I'm trying to achieve now is I want to have all those white lines sort of dither away the farther they get away from the green. So what we can do is let's just do this. Let's go to our select with our selection already on this green layer, and we are selecting this blank layer, if that makes sense. So I copied the selection from the green, and I'm selecting a new blank layer. I'm going to go to select, modify, expand. We're going to expand this probably by, let's say, 350. Alright, so that's a little bit too much. Let's go back. Let's try that again. Let's go to expand, and we're going to do 150. Alright, so you might even want to go just a little bit more. Expand, we can just build off of this, but let's reduce this number now. So let's only expand by another 50. So we're expanding 200 pixels total. And then what I want to do is I want to right click. Let's hit M so we have our marquee tool selected. Right click, feather, and then let's feather this by 50 pixels. Alright, so now you can see that we kind of get this cool sort of feathered selection. And I apologize, I said this was a blank layer. This is not a blank layer. This is a duplicate of our line layer. But what we did is we're just making the selection, and now we're going to turn this into a mask. So now you can see what's happening is that we are slowly getting the white lines are there with the green, but as they get farther away from the green, they're disappearing. So on the blacks and a little bit towards the edges of some of these larger dark grays, you're not seeing that white outline, or you're starting to see it disappear. So that's cool. I think this is a pretty neat effect. This is more interesting to me than just this. So let's delete that. I still wonder though if we could maybe dial this back a little bit. So I want to just try that out again one more time, and then just reduce our layer, or reduce our how far we expand that selection. So let's go back to green. Select our lines again. We're going to go to select, modify, expand. We're only going to do 100 this time. Oh, actually we're going to do 150 because we remember we want that extra 50 last time. We're going to go back to our marquee tool by hitting M, right click, feather, 50 pixels, create new mask. So subtle difference, but I think it looks a lot nicer now. So yeah, so that's I think that is where, let's see, what else, is there anything else that we could do to this? I think if we really want to get fancy, we might be able to just, we go to google.com, images. We're just going to try and do something. It's probably not going to work. I can almost guarantee I'm not going to like it, but just for the heck of it, we're going to do it. If I can find a free one. Man, this music. Don't you feel like you're in Mario Kart or something? Can you hear it that good? Let's turn this up a little bit. Looking for like a snake pattern because this is like a reptile texture. Let's try. Bring this in. This may or may not make it look better, but we will try. Let's go to adjustments and I'll just do posterize. Nope, not posterize. I have to do threshold. Rasterize the layer. Yeah, I was just trying to see if we could get that sort of snake texture to this, but I think that unless we only did it on a couple layers, it might look kind of like, I mean, that's kind of interesting there. I wonder if that would look better on a different layer though. What if we did that on that indigo? Clipping mask. That's pretty interesting, actually. Now, I know it's different than what you would kind of see in Call of Duty for sure. I mean, this here itself is kind of neat, but then just to kind of do this, and maybe if we only did like a 20% texture to it, kind of get that adds a little bit. That adds like a different level to the pattern. So that's pretty fun. I wonder if there's anything else that we can do. So that's kind of, and then the posterize, but the reason why I did the posterize is that's just a really easy way to get rid of any sort of additional colors, and it's a really nice way just to kind of, to get those two colors that I wanted, which is just the black and white. So yeah, that was helpful there. I also want to, let's see, we got all of our stuff here. I want to just combine these two, and then just kind of as like a sort of a finishing element. Maybe let's do this. I think it'd be kind of cool just to do this. Let's do a little bit of an outside gradient, or like a vignette. Actually, we don't do vignette. I'm trying to think. Let's test it out. Let's combine these all into just one smart object. Alright, so now we got our reptile pattern. There we go. All this extra stuff here is extra. We got our reference, our backup layer there, reference. Alright, so now let's go to camera raw. I want to try and add a vignette on this, and I know how to do this with photography. Post-crop vignetting. Yeah, so let's do a little bit of a vignette. -30, just very subtle, just to draw the eye towards the center even more. Technically, if this was you were trying to make a seamless pattern, this would not be the approach to go, especially adding a vignette to it. Might even bring that down a little bit too, just to -15. Yeah, you would. It's a completely different process of doing a seamless pattern. So don't think this is going to get you a seamless pattern. This is just for the purposes of this demonstration, making something cool and possibly a cool Instagram post out of it. Who knows? So let's see. Let's see what other sliders here can we mess with. Let's try. What does texture do? Texture is gonna mess it all up. Texture, so for photography, I love adding texture. Texture and a little bit of clarity makes kind of like a really nice sort of gritty photograph. So I think that's all I want to do in there. We added a little bit of a vignette. You can just see on or off, on. And there's one other thing that I think I'd like to do, which is to go to filter gallery. And I just want to add a little bit of a film grain to this intensity. Let's bring this down to like 3. Grain maybe 2. Intensity back up to 10. What's causing the effect? Okay, that's cool. It's okay. Now is that getting to be too much? Is that making it too bright? The nice thing about being a smart object is that we can go back and change this. So is that intensity making the image brighter? Let's find out. Bring it back down to 5. I think it is, yep. So let's actually just bring that down to 3, because I like the brightness of it currently. I was just trying to get the grain to be up a little bit more, so maybe it needs to go up to 4, and that's lightning. It's all just a little bit of a balancing act. This music? I don't know, man. I was just kind of... Oh, I guess I turned it up. I forgot to turn it back down. My bad. It's just... So I have this player that I've been using a lot, every time I stream, really. It's called Pretzel Rocks. You can play all this sort of like royalty-free music. There was a song that sounded like I was in Mario Kart, so I turned it up because I was looking on Getty for an image, and I forgot to turn it back down. So you guys have just been listening to all this music, like all loud and everything. But Triumph, how's it going, man? Long time no talk. Been watching or keeping up with some of your 3D work, and you've got some really great work, man. I haven't seen you stream in a while, though. I guess I'm not really one to talk. I haven't streamed in over a year. But yeah, I'm trying to get back into it, trying to get back into the swing of things. It's been a busy year for me. My fiance and I, we moved, so there was some downtime for all that, and I think that the last time I was really streaming was right before I got a new job. So that's been almost a year, 2 years now. Oh, awesome. Very cool. I know. I remember the last time that we talked, you were getting ready to come out here to Fremont for an event for them or something like that. So were you able to make it out for that? I don't remember where you're based out of normally, but I thought that was a pretty long trip for you. But yeah, I think that this pattern is pretty much done. We kind of look at what our reference was there. Let's just kind of swap that. So this is what we kind of looked at. This was our reference. Our reference image here was from Call of Duty. So Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This is the Gecko camo for the weapons underneath the reptile category. So we were kind of using this as our guide, and we landed here. So I think that we did a pretty good job with this. I like it. Pretty fun, pretty neat little trick to do. Again, shout out to Evan Eckert for putting together this awesome tutorial. I think it just goes to show that you can create a lot of this cool stuff in Photoshop yourself. You don't really have to go out and find these things. You can just kind of have fun and make all your own abstract patterns for really no other reason than just kind of having fun with it. And if you decide to use this for a client project, then you kind of have that ability to say that everything was created from scratch, and it's rewarding to be able to make all this stuff from scratch. And yeah, you could find this if this is like a very minor part of your project, and you just really need like a quick little background for a specific spread, or for maybe the background of an app that you're designing. But being able to go through and do all this stuff yourself is cool. And for the time that it took us to make this, you probably would have spent on Getty looking for that perfect image that would have just fit your project perfectly. But in this case, you can go through and you already have all your colors, you already know exactly what you want, and it's just a matter of recreating it. And this would be pretty easy to do in vector form as well, I believe. And if you can't follow this process perfectly in Illustrator, which I think that you might, because there are some filters, Photoshop-like filters in Illustrator. But if for some reason you couldn't, you could just always import each of these separated layers as its own object, and then just image trace it or some other method. So yeah, there's definitely ways of doing it. So yeah, I think next time we stream, if we go back to that pattern that we were working on here, you guys get a little sneak peek of my dog. I was doing some editing work, or I had an image of him that I just wanted to desaturate a little bit, so he was just he was on my desktop, so I brought him in and desaturated it a little bit. I was using it I was sharing it out to somebody. Anyway, so yeah, so this over here on the left is pretty much what we were following for our pattern today. Let's see, let's go back, make this one full screen. Yeah, so this guy here is what we did today. Pretty cool process. If we wanted to do something similar, we could. So what let's see, do I have that file open still? Here we go. There's a slight variation in the process of doing this, but so we kind of did the sort of jagged edge approach. If we wanted to have it smoother, there's just a slight different step in how you go through all those distort layers. Rather than going through and doing the, what's it called? Distort. Rather than doing ripple, you actually go through and you add like a Gaussian blur, and then you go through and you do your posterize and find edges. But essentially the same principles as everything that we just did. But what's really interesting is this one here on the right. So if we go to the full screen, this is a pretty fun process to go through and make something like this. Really glitchy, sort of like an old VCR or something like that, where the screen just totally just whacks out on you, and you know that your video is gone forever. Yeah, this one here was a little bit more in depth in going through and adding all the different layers and all the different types of distortion, but very cool effect, and I think it works pretty well with what we just created in terms of kind of like a fun abstract pattern. That more or less looks like a Call of Duty camo. But yeah, this was a lot of fun to walk through this process, and nice to see some familiar faces and to see that you guys are still out there. You guys are still kicking and probably being more active on this program than I am, or on this website than I am. But hopefully I can do some more streams like this. I know that everyone's stuck at home these days and not really going out to work, and everyone's just kind of, yeah, we're all in this together right now. We're all stuck at home and just trying to make the best out of it. And for me, I think it's been pretty awesome just to see how great this creative community is, with just kind of supporting each other and doing all these fun events. There was one event that I was helping out with recently called Canceled Con, and that was a free design, or not really design, but just a creative event in general, where all these creatives got together and did a 2-day live stream event, 8 hours, or 8 to 8, so it was 12 hours a day, hosted by Andrew Hockrattle, somebody who I met at Adobe Max last year. Him and a whole bunch of other people contributed to this really awesome event, where we got to see a whole bunch of people do things that they're known for. So they might have done some hand lettering, or might have done some sort of graphic design or illustration. Other people too, who are more or less known for design, were just doing fun things. We had Mike Jones from Creative South do a barbecue sauce recipe, so that was a lot of fun. And yeah, there were a bunch of other cool people in there. Somebody did like a live mural. Somebody made bread. Just a lot of fun stuff. Just really kind of collaborating and being involved in the community. So yeah, it's been fun to see that. See a lot of these other people who normally don't live stream start live streaming. By the way, you can turn down the mic a tiny bit so your voice is... Oh, am I too close to the mic? I know that I was kind of peeking a little bit, so I was trying to... I always tend to like to move back and forth from the mic. I was trying to get it to an optimal spot. But my bad if I just shattered your guys' eardrums. But yeah, I think it's just been cool to see all these people live streaming, and a lot of different websites are starting to incorporate live streaming into their platforms. I know that Behance is starting to dabble in with live streaming a little bit. I don't know if you've always been able to live stream in Discord, but I saw like the first live stream in Discord earlier today, so that was pretty neat. So yeah, anyways, long story long, hopefully I'll be doing more of these, so make sure to follow me here, and make sure to follow my Twitter as well if you guys are interested in knowing when I go live. I know I didn't announce anything on Twitter today, but we're just trying to keep this a very kind of low-key sort of reintroduction into me live streaming. But now I'm just babbling on and trying to think that I'm just ready to go to bed. So that said, thank you guys for watching. We'll catch up with you guys next time, and have a great night. See ya. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll catch up with you next time.